Welcome to the show where we explore the who, what, where, how, and why of the extraordinary people who define our north of normal metro. I'm Conrad Fargo, and this is the Fargo Five. Today we have Jeff Carney of Darkhorse IT. Hello, Jeff.
Hey, how's it going?
So, Jeff, I know you from networking through the MBA. They suggested we should hook up. You and I have known each other for a while. And we said, let's go ahead and have you on the show. So why don't you go ahead for the listeners, give us your 60-second pitch. What is it that you do, Jeff?
Yeah, my name is Jeff Carney, and I own and run a IT company called Darkhorse IT. I'm also a dad and do some other side jobs, and I'm very, passionate about technology. So I'm very intertwined in a lot of the technology. So it takes all of my time.
You're a busy guy, and we all are. But yeah, so you said IT company. Gosh, I've known enough people who are IT professionals to know that that's a pretty broad spectrum.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what it is that you specialize in, or what most of the work is, or what your most common work is?
Yeah, well, we're constantly evolving as things evolve. But where we're at currently right now, we're supporting medium to small businesses and residential clients with their computer needs. So we do ongoing managed services with businesses. So it's more of like an ongoing relationship instead of like calling us when there's just trouble. We do like preventative maintenance, proactive stuff, things like that. And then we also do like for residential clients, like if they want to bring us their computers or laptops, we'll still help them. A lot of what we're doing is Windows 11 is Windows 10 is expiring. So we're going to be helping people get to Windows 11, things like that. A lot of different things, but mostly we try to focus on security and like look through the security lens. So not only there's a lot of different ways to do things. They say there's like more than one way to skin a cat. You ever heard that?
Sure.
Well, there's more than one way to like get IT things working. Like
some that hooked on me. You said there's residential and commercial. Gosh, I come from the real estate world, where that is also bifurcated, residential and commercial. Cleaning. I owned a cleaning company, and that also is bifurcated, residential and commercial. I mean, is that typically how IT is split out? Like, what do you mean by residential?
Yeah. So oftentimes you'll find managed service providers. They're really big, and they're just not interested in helping the small guys. There's not a fit. Well, we started off helping the small guys and are moving into the business. So we still have a lot of passion and desire to just help people. And so if you get to know me like you have, you know that I am a very passionate person about helping people. It's kind of my nature. So it just makes sense that we want to continue to just help everyone that we can, as long as it makes sense for them and us.
Okay. And so that's, and I usually ask this, are you from the area originally? You were born here, or?
I'd like to pretend I was.
Okay.
Like I've been here for 15 years and I absolutely love it. Like only slightly embarrassed to admit that I'm from California. California is a beautiful place, and I learned a lot there, and I have family and friends there, but like I just absolutely love this community.
Yeah.
And I'm even cool with the weather.
When did you, well, and I always say that's our immigration policy of North Dakota, is you must be this tough to live here. When did you move to the metro?
I think it was in 2017, but I'm horrible at the dates because it's been
8 years ago.
Gosh, it's been longer, so I'm wrong on that.
Okay.
I don't know the date.
But not, like, you were an adult when you moved?
Yeah. It's been, I think it's been, I think
this?
it was 15 years.
We've talked a lot. I don't recall this.
Yeah, so I think maybe it was 2009.
Okay. During the real estate crash?
So it was right after that. So
Okay, so like 2009, 2010. So what is it that brought you here, though?
Well, it's so I could learn how to tell time better, probably. No, I'm just kidding. So I didn't know you were going to give me a quiz on dates like that.
No.
We celebrated our 10th year anniversary. So on our 9th year, we celebrated it twice in a row. So we didn't know it was our 10th.
Yeah.
But we went to Disneyland for our 9th year anniversary.
Inland, is that the
world? I went to the Orlando one, Florida.
The Florida
yeah.
one. Oh, okay.
So,
have you been back to California anytime soon?
We went to visit family, but I haven't done any we don't go to Southern California, so I'm definitely not going to Disneyland. We go to like Northern California, so like things like Mendocino, Fort Bragg, things like that. The beautiful redwood forest.
The soon-to-be state of Jefferson.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. There's a whole thing. Oregon and California are forming their own state. No, but so what is it that brought you here? Really? Why?
Really, it's family. So my first wife and me, we met in California, and we were both very young. And when she got pregnant, we went to tell her dad, who was kind of a scary guy because he's a military guy, and it's kind of that tough skinned. And when we told him that she was pregnant, he told me that same moment that they're moving to North Dakota.
They were?
Yeah, because he's in the Air Force. He was a civil servant, he was a ground safety manager at the Air Force base. So
and
they moved out
including
here.
her?
Well, she
was she living at home at the time?
Yeah, we were all young.
How young?
We were 17.
Oh, okay. So, just kids?
Yeah, and so he basically said, why don't you go get a job until we say we're ready, and then we'll move you out here with us. And that's what I did. I went to Montana and worked for 8.5 months.
Okay.
So I missed like the whole like pregnancy. Like I just showed up when it's time to have the baby kind of deal.
Okay.
But, and the after that didn't work, I moved back to California because that was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And so I was out here for a little period of time, and then I came back.
Montana. I mean, Montana's not North Dakota.
I love Montana, but so I went back to California, and like it was I got to live in Mackinac, North Dakota while I was here during that time.
And where's that?
In the middle of nowhere. It's amazing. It's like outside of the Air Force Base, outside of Grand Forks. I would drive like 45 minutes.
So it's north of here.
Yeah, it's
by
north,
like an hour.
It's east and slightly north of Grand Forks. So you start heading towards like
can't be east.
West. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Directions and dates. No, I'm actually good at directions.
And I get what I'm called. Usually, I print out the person's name. Because I get what I'm called live brain, where I cannot recall details. So it's kind of cruel for me to like press people on the details of their life, but that's the show. So it's okay.
I'll just tell you when I don't know for sure, but
that's okay.
And so when I was back there, my son started growing up, and we were moving him back and forth during the summer. He'd come, and
to California,
and it came to the point where he's getting a little older, and had to make a decision, like, where's he going to be going to school and things like that. And at the time, North Dakota had, like, the #1 top school systems in the country, and California had, like, the #0 in the country. And they were, at that time, my daughter from my current wife, so we both have kids from a previous marriage.
Yeah.
She was still with us in California, and her school had, like, 45 kids in the class.
Yeah.
At the second parents-teacher conference, everyone started to wear name tags because the teacher didn't know the kids' names, and we couldn't all go in the building at the same time because of the fire code, so we'd had to take groups. And I just realized at that point that the best place in the world to raise kids that I was aware is back in this community, and I started having a desire to move back here with my son and to bring my family, my wife and daughter, with me. And the funny thing is when I told Mona this, my wife, she said she was all in. She's like, let's do it. And I said, wait a minute, slow down. You have to come out here in February first, because I would hate for you to move out here and then be resentful for me, because it's not for everybody, right?
Yeah.
So we brought her out here, and it was perfect. We had a blizzard. We got like 4 inches of snow in like 30 minutes, which, as you know, is like a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Our car got stuck in the parking lot at the Howard Johnson Hotel. Like, it was flat,
and she was still ready to do it.
My daughter was out there making snowman, going, let's do this, Mom. Mona was like, I'm all in.
That's great.
So here we are. She got us out here. She literally took her tax refund and packed up the whole U-Haul, and on faith alone, not even knowing where we're landing, kind of like we found a place online, an apartment, and Park Place. We're like, hey, that's next to Boardwalk. It's got to be good, But that's all we knew.
Where was Park Place? So that was...
It's in South Fargo.
So it was, because you kept saying Montana and then North Dakota, so you did land in Fargo proper.
Yeah.
But I know you as a Moorhead business owner. It was the Moorhead Business Association by which we met.
Yep.
What is it that, because, Moorhead is a much smaller town than Fargo.
Yeah.
Most people, especially people from outside.
Well, yeah. I mean, so Fargo doesn't have any trees. You know, so it's
As
like,
many, yeah.
like not natural, but
Yeah.
that's just always my joke because I come from California, redwood forest. There's no trees. It's like,
sure.
we're this lake bottom right here, right?
Uh-huh.
The second
Yeah.
you go over to Moorhead, they actually have natural trees that because that's
Yeah.
where the lake ended. I
Yeah.
think the Red River
Yeah.
might be the edge of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyways, I
Something
always
like that.
joke that I'm there for the trees, but the truth is, we moved into the Park Place apartments when we got here, and my family moved. They followed us. My mom and dad came. My wife's family came. Her sister came. Their kids came, and we started just like having everybody here, and we ended up moving into a house together with my mom and dad to, offset some of the cost and get out of the apartments. And
With your mom and dad?
yeah, my mom and dad, my wife, our kids, we got a house in South Fargo. And things
Your
were
mom and dad were in California too, right?
Yeah,
so they came up too.
Yeah, my mom was a real estate agent, as you mentioned, 2009. She was like, "Guys, it's time for a career change." So,
Okay.
and so, when we were living in this house, we just one day got this phone call from the landlord, and he said he had got cancer and he's going to sell all of his assets, and we had to move.
Oh no.
And yeah, it sounded really bad, but it didn't turn out to be a blessing in disguise. At the time, we're thinking, what are we going to do? So my wife and me had a little bit of money saved up. My parents had but they had credit for some, I have no idea how, but they had good credit, which we didn't. And so we came together again, and we used their credit and our cash and got into a house that we're still in Moorhead. So
Wow.
it turns out it's cheaper than we were paying for rent in like the apartments. And
Yeah, well,
and it's just a beautiful place. We love it. And so my mom has since passed away, and we still live with my dad and my kids and their kids, so my grandkids and my kids. It's like multi-generational. And it's really fun. We all have our own space, so a lot of people are like, oh, that must be horrible. But like, it's really sectioned off in a way where we have our own privacy, our own kind of like area. But then we also have the community where we can come together, we'll all hang out in the backyard or play with the chickens or whatever.
What part of Moorhead are you in?
I'm in the Comstock neighborhood, so over by that historic Comstock house.
Where is that?
It's
over near Concordia?
Close to downtown. Yeah, it's north of Concordia, south of the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Like kind of in between
Oh,
those.
yeah, great.
Some of those older.
Yeah, that's a nice older part of town.
110, 20-year-old homes.
Yeah.
But they were really luxury like back then. These were like
Absolutely.
top of the line. So they're actually still pretty good. I mean, obviously old houses don't talk about the air conditioning or the heating. But other than that, we're pretty fortunate.
I mean, do you have central air at all, or
No,
It's
no.
all window units.
Yeah.
That is tough because it does actually also get warm here.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know that either, like until I first moved here. I thought, and I love cold. Like I'm just this weird person, like sleeping. Like I can't sleep if it's hot. Just forget it. I'm miserable, sweaty. Like, but when it's cold, it's like I don't even want to get out of bed when it's cold. Yeah.
100%. So you came here, you're landing in North Dakota, or I'm sorry, into Moorhead. After you buy the house, you have to buy the house. Where did Darkhorse start? What was the kernel? When was what I like to say is when was even the idea of it conceived? Like, when did that happen?
Yeah, so that's a great story. So I'm going to kind of answer that in two parts. The first part is like I've been on this IT path since like the early or late 80s. Like, my first job was a paper boy.
Yeah.
It lasted,
How old are you?
I'm 47.
Okay.
So my paperboy job that I started when I was like 12 or 10, probably. I think I was a little older than 10 because I had to write it by. But anyways, I got fired after like a week or two. It just wasn't for me. Like I didn't enjoy it.
This was back in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not enjoy it. And then my very next job was at a computer store building computers. And I'm almost certain that I was like a legal worker because I never talked to people. I got paid in cash and in computer parts.
Okay.
And I didn't even know that that's not a normal thing.
Yeah.
My friend got me that job. He went up to the owner who he worked for and he said, "Hey, you should hire my friend Jeff." And he says, "Well, what does Jeff know?" He says, "Not much, but he's a fast learner."
Okay.
And so he hired me right there.
And this was in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Computers. We were using MS Paint to draw chess pieces, right? Like this was
my
early,
first
early
computer. We
stuff.
didn't even have that. It was DOS. Like I entered it like DOS 4.0.
Yeah.
And then I remember when they got the 6.0 upgrade, I read the whole book.
Okay.
But Darkhorse, that's a different. So I started FM Digital Solutions. I think it was 9 years ago.
Okay.
That's what. Yeah. Okay. So
After having
2017
is this before or after you bought the house?
This is before.
Okay.
So
okay.
I had started an IT business on accident in California.
Okay.
And so what happened was I worked with my mom as a real estate agent during this boom. Like we were selling houses just by throwing flyers out the window. Like someone would catch it, they'd be like, I want to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, and people didn't need money or credit, or they just had to have a letter from their employer saying that they were employed. And we can get them in the house.
Must be nice.
Those subprime loans were amazing, man. And I know you guys didn't have those out here, which is interesting. One of the things I loved about coming out here was I found out that you guys weren't doing that, and it's because the community of realtors and bankers realized that that wasn't a good product for this community. Hence the reason we're here, because of the community. You know what I mean? California, they're like, sweet, let's get these guys. And they got us. So, but I was working with my mom, and I was her marketing agent. So I went to like Brian Buffini trainings and like went to all these different seminars. Do you know who that is?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So I did all that. I mean, the San Diego event he had was like one of my best vacations as a family. Like that was amazing. But and I'm doing this, and what happened is the ladies in her office was like, hey, I got this new printer, I can't hook it up. And I'd help them. They say, hey, can you come to my house? I got this other thing. Next thing you know, people are pulling me away and paying me more than my mom was. And I was like, sorry, Mom, but I'm making more helping these people in your office. And it just kept word of mouth. And the next thing you know, I've got a full on, like, I'm busy and just going around helping people with their IT stuff. So we move here. And I'm like, I'm going to keep doing that. You know, put an ad on Craigslist. And
this is back in 2015.
This is like, this is like still in Craigslist, like prime. This is like when if you were trying to sell something, you'd definitely post on Craigslist.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm having a hard time.
There was no Facebook Marketplace at this point.
There wasn't?
No, there was.
Okay.
So that was actually born from the death of Craigslist.
I see.
The marketplace. Yeah, it was like a transfer of... anyways.
But I'm just kind of... Because I'm trying to think, because, you know, back in the 90s when you accidentally started it, I don't think it was a very saturated market.
Yeah,
These were all new things. Everybody's like, please help me, please help me. But by 2015, kind of everybody...
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, we get here, jump out, and I think this is going to be easy because I've got the, you know...
Right?
So I went to all the IT companies in town. None of them were hiring. Put in applications. And you know what's crazy? Like when you get into these apartments, like rent, they actually want you to pay. They don't care that you don't have a job yet. So it became critical. Like, okay, we've got to figure something out. So had some friends that say, hey, they're building a new restaurant in that Walmart parking lot. You should go check it out. And so I walked in. They're under construction. The owner was actually like building the line, you know. And they hired me on the spot. I've never been in the food industry in my life. I can't cook. Like, I hate dishes. Like, I don't know how it became a good fit, but it was.
Yeah.
And I know I'm kind of going, I'm going to bring this back home. This is part of the story. So I got to work side by side by the owner of Pancheros. He became a mentor and a friend.
Pancheros? Yeah.
So Steve is the owner, and like at this point, he was there every day.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Yeah. This was over on the original 13th Avenue one.
Yeah,
right.
Yep.
And that's because I deliver pizza for Pizza Hut right around the corner.
Oh yeah.
And he would always come over and be real cool and be like, "You guys want to do a food trade?"
Yeah. I was loving that.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
That was one of the benefits. He was like the most fun. Like, so what he did was plant a seed of a business owner, and like he taught me, because I didn't know what I was doing when I accidentally started. I was just running around collecting money, and I didn't know anything about business.
Yes.
And so like he really explained to me every step of the way what he was doing, his spreadsheets, his logic and theory with how to treat staff. And
you still in contact with him?
Yeah, I talk to him occasionally. And
is he still in the area?
Oh yeah, like they just opened. He just bought Crispin Greens, and I know that he's got McAllister's. His family's got stuff going on.
He just keeps growing.
It's an amazing family. They're really inspiring. So I was very inspired by him, and he taught me. So part of me is feeling sorry for myself, like. I feel like, I'm working in a restaurant. I'm supposed to be this, in my mind, I'm like this IT guy, and it's like Groundhog's Day. We're doing the same thing over and over. It wasn't until I left that I realized how much value that job was. I was there for 5 years. I became the general manager. I was basically like trained from Steve from the day one, and man, he really taught me more than anything. The big sample way is like how to treat people, how to manage people. and like what the philosophy of his business was and how to like keep track. And he was a numbers guy big time.
Yeah.
Like you should see this guy's spreadsheet. You would be drooling. Like best, like
I want to meet this guy.
You should interview him.
I would love to interview him.
I'll see if I can get you connected, because he's like, I want to tell his stories, but I'll save it. His stories are amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to hear.
So anyways, I do this, and I'm starting to, realize that I want to do something else. I met some people at our church youth group who knew somebody who owned an IT company, and they got me a job, essentially. So put in my 2 weeks, and I went and worked at this IT company. And, when I thought about joining an IT company, I'm thinking I'm going to join this team. I'm going to learn from these people. Like, I got in there, and they fired everybody that was there before me, and I was like the only guy. And like,
no.
I don't have any experience in this like MSP field. Like a lot of these things that they're doing, I've never done before.
And this was at Darkhorse?
No, this was at Blueprint.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Blueprint
Through the
IT.
church group.
Well, Blueprint IT was an IT company. The church group connected me to this. Yeah. And so I ended up becoming like the tech by myself, and then I had to figure everything out on my own. So.
And how many people were you replacing? I mean, that
4.
just...
Yeah, they just got rid of like 4 or 3
and then
or 4.
replaced with you.
Yeah.
That sounds...
And then, so the business had 3 sides at the time. It had a Wi-Fi, so they did nationwide Wi-Fi all over the country and hotels and stuff. And they were doing Xerox. And both sides had this big team, but the IT team was just me. So I kind of was just like... drooling over like, oh, I want to be on the Wi-Fi team, because I want to be on a team. I wanted to have like this thing where, I'm good at figuring things out, but I really wanted like a mentor or someone to learn from. Yeah. Because it's just so much accelerated. Yes. A lot less reading.
Well, and you had that in your last gig where you were doing the food stuff, right?
Yeah. And I really kind of like felt alone on that. So finally got a couple people on the tech side, and then I got to move to the Wi-Fi side, and everybody that was there either quit, left, moved, or got fired.
Again?
Yeah. So here I am by myself on the Wi-Fi side.
And who's this? So you met this company... I mean, I just kind of want to slow down. I mean, we got another 20 minutes here. So I want to slow down and focus. This company evolves into Darkhorse? That's how you meet? Okay.
So a lot of where I'm going with this is like what got us. So it's
just strange.
It's pivotal because
it's just strange to walk into a company. They say, great, here's your department. By the way, there's nobody to train you,
and that I don't have a ton of experience or qualifications.
And now you're the only one. And then later you bring people in to replace you because you trained them in.
Well, they brought people in that work with me. I didn't find them. They just so that's where the Darkhorse comes from. So
it's just strange. Yeah. It's just strange. So it makes me think maybe I'm not following or understanding.
So like a knight in shining armor came this guy named. I'm not going to say his last name, but I don't know if you want us to, but Dave. We'll call him Dave. That's
sure.
It. Yeah, so here comes Dave, and Dave shows up. Dave is the smartest guy. I mean, this is probably going to just point him out because anyone knows that they'll be able to like reference to this. Sure. But he's the smartest guy in IT I've ever met.
Okay.
So I know a lot of smart people. I know somebody that helped develop the current encryption standard we use. I know someone that leads a team of developers for BigCommerce, like 7 teams worldwide. But Dave knows every single category. So everything from like Novell, DOS, Windows, like certain people are like experts in one thing. He's an expert in all fields. Okay. And I'm the kind of opposite. I'm like a little bit in all fields. Yeah. And so anyways, he comes there and through a whole bunch of stuff, really builds this up, gets things going. And then the business actually has to shut down because he came from another IT company. So his customers followed. And they got a non-compete thing. And that's actually like the beginning of the end of what happened at Blueprint. And so Dave became that mentor for me. At first, it was funny because we were like arguing over something. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like I was very adamant. And I'm like, this guy's... And he ended up showing me that I was wrong. Yeah. And it was really cool. And I ended up just worshiping this guy in terms of his knowledge. And so... the company went its thing. I kind of got out early and I started FM Digital Solutions. I was feeling I was doing it by myself anyway. Yeah. I really want to be part of a team. And I could kind of see the writing on the wall where things were going. It didn't look like it was going to last for too long. And so I just wanted to really... And my goal, my dream, my vision with that when I started FM Digital Solutions was just me. I just wanted to work enough just to make my bills. And then really I just thought it would be this sweet little gig where I didn't have to work very much, maybe 2-3 hours a day. and that's all I needed to do. And I was like, yeah, well, that didn't work out. That dream is a pipe dream. So what ended up happening was started FM Digital Solutions. I did it solo for a long time, and then one day Dave calls me. And he says, hey, man, like, let's have a meeting.
This mentor.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on, Dave? And, he says, well, I've got this idea. And he pitched me this idea. And I'm going to tell you what he said. He says, you know how Uber works? I'm like, yeah, you got a phone. He says, what if we made an Uber, but for IT, for like techs?
Yeah.
So people like you, like he points at me, solo entrepreneurs can have a whole support team with level 2, 3 support, have all the tools. And then he even said it like this, and have a guy like me at the other end of the phone. If they're out in the field and they get in over their head or into some trouble, I can remote in, and we'll have a support center here of like level 3 support people, which is like, him and, whatever in the thing. And he says, we'll send out text to the field. And he says, we'll bill out at this certain rate. I think he said like 150 at the time. And he's like, and then we'll give the techs like $70 for their pay. And then the company will keep the rest. And, any subscriptions that they enroll people, they'll give them 50% of the.
Yeah, he's got a model put together.
Out.
Yeah.
So
pitches you as the idea.
So the way my mind,
because this isn't what you have anymore, though. It doesn't.
No. So the way my mind worked was like, and this is what I actually said back to him after he pitched this whole thing. I said, so what you're telling me is that I can do this with you. I can go take a job that's over my head, and you're gonna like teach me and walk me through how to do it and pay me $70 an hour to do that? So you're going to pay me $70 an hour to mentor me? And he says, well, yeah, I guess that's how, let's do it. So we did it, and I onboarded. I brought a couple of customers. Like to this day, one of my best customers was the one we onboarded with that, And so, and then what happened, here's the rest of the story. We got to get Dave on here too, because he's in Arizona, like on some, I don't know what he's doing, but he's got an amazing story. Because so Microsoft calls him. He answers the phone to a recruiter, and they basically ask him to just humor him, and they hear him out. They hear how qualified he is, and the recruiter's like, we've never had anyone on the other end of the phone this qualified. He said, let's just for fun, since Microsoft's like down the street from your house, why don't you go in, interview? I just want to see what they're going to offer you, a guy like this. The recruiter was very genuinely just interested, and Dave had no desire to go work for Microsoft.
Yeah.
So they get there, they call him back, and they said, no, it's not going to work. You're way too overqualified for this position, but I'll tell you what, we'll create a position for you. So Dave has like a doctor's degree. Like, I'm pretty sure it's a doctor. It might be the one right underneath that, like the 8-year one, whatever that's called, in accounting. But he also has like 28 certifications in IT. And, so here at Microsoft, it's an accounting software firm. So their biggest issue is having somebody who understands accounting and somebody who understands coding and programming. And then like
bringing those two together.
He was the liaison. And so they gave him this big sign-in bonus, basically told him, after 3 years he could retire. They, all these nice things. And so he then reached back out to me and told me that he's going to do this and wanted to give me this because I was already doing FM, and I'm the only, everyone else he talked to about that idea was like, you're crazy. Why would I want to take a loss in pay?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, you're crazy. You're going to pay me to mentor me? Sure, let's do it. So it's just a different mindset. And, anyways, he ended up giving me the business. We joined Darkhorse and FM. And because of like, first of all, when I was advertising with FM Digital Solutions, I was getting calls from people like you. Hey, I'm at the radio FM station 95.9, and we need a transponder, antenna. Or I'm like, this is an IT. They weren't even reading like the ad; they were just seeing FM and like clicking on it, and it cost me $1.50 every time they call me. So
with the word FM,
and it's supposed to be Fargo Moorhead,
right?
So anyway, Darkhorse, and I asked Dave what the meaning of the story was, or the naming. And so this is what Dave said. Well, a dark horse in horse racing is a horse that's like not known. It's not like featured to win. Like the odds of it are, nobody even knows. It's kind of like a new horse in the race. The reason they call it dark horse is because the owner knows what he has is something special. Mm-hmm. And they take this horse out at night when there's nobody else watching, and they run it and they practice it and train it. Hence the dark horse under the cover of night. And then they show up at the race and blow everyone out the water. Yeah. And like they're like, where did this horse? Nobody's even heard of this. So that was like what I thought is like, hey, we're small, but our passion is huge, and our commitment, our purpose is like what's going to bring us like a dark horse. And we are working under the cover of night, not literally night, but behind the scenes, we're continuing our education. We're modifying, like just constantly refining our systems so that they're up to date because IT changes.
So Dave brings you on. You're already starting up the business, and you already have your FM.
Yeah, and mostly that was like break fix. So I didn't have any like managed clients.
Tell us
or
more
business.
about that. So what's break fix as opposed to managed clients?
Break fix is like you break it, I fix it. You got a project, you call me up, we schedule it, I go. There's not an ongoing. There's no subscriptions. There's no ongoing commitments or anything. Managed service is like. You're like, hey, I want you to just like take care of my network and my systems. I don't want to have to worry about it, and I don't want any problems. I want
that, and that's more of a contract basis.
Yeah, it's contract, and so it's really the difference of paying huge payments, here and there, or spreading it out, predictable payments over
right now, are you mostly managed services then?
We're probably 50-50. We're leaning. We're going more like so. I've just recently hired some new staff. We're expanding and growing. We got an office. So there's a lot of things that have changed. Like I was keeping costs down so much that I was able to offer a really low price. We didn't have a building. We didn't have. So for break fix clients, I was really through networking groups like BNI and the Moorhead Business Association. I was just really but I had another mindset shift. And that was when I was at Blueprint, I almost felt like dirty with like managed subscription. I didn't understand. It just seemed like everybody was getting a server now. They had to pay all these subscriptions, and I was like, I'm not a big fan of subscriptions myself.
Yep.
So I was always like open source, trying to find the free solution for them, and people would pay me to come and use my knowledge and get them set up. But I realized that first of all, most people aren't me, so they're not going to take the time to like do the maintenance and updates and monitoring and replace hard drives before they fail.
So you get them started assuming that they'll do what you would do.
Yeah, and then I find out that in the long term, I was doing them a disservice. Yeah. And there is still a place for break fix. Somebody has a laptop, the hard drive goes out, that's the kind of thing. But
it's probably not going to be something that's standalone.
Yeah, and I don't. Yeah, it does
hard to string that together.
It's just doing a disservice over the long period of time to our clients. So I really feel like from a like feeling good and just doing what's best for my clients is the managed service. So it's an ongoing relationship, and the idea is that we get you set up in such a way that it's minimal chance of having something catastrophic happen, and then we come up with a contingency plan. So what if something happens? Do we have what is our strategy plan so that everything's already thought through? So if something happens, it's not like, what do we do now? Well, we just, we're going to implement this backup or whatever the thing is. And the idea is that we never have to do that because we're keeping you patch managed, updated. We're monitoring your hardware to if it starts to fail, we can tell you ahead of time that your hard drive's about to go out versus waiting for it to fail and then what,
Yeah, it's almost like having a partner. Somebody who's taking ownership of the situation.
And that's exactly it. I feel like I'm employed by it's a great feeling. Like I go into all these businesses, I'm able to walk in the back door, all their staff greets me like I'm a friendly face there, and I have the same, if not more sometimes, desire for the success of this company as their own employees. Like I feel ownership, even though it's not my thing. I want the success of my clients.
When I think the term of art, perhaps the modern term of art, is fractional, right? Like we talk about people having fractional CFOs.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like almost it's not software as a subscription service kind of a, forget you, give me my $20 a month or whatever. This is more like you can't afford a full-time IT guy. I'll be your IT guy 5 hours a week. Yep. So give me the 5 hours a week salary, and then it's like having part of a full-time position on staff.
Yeah.
Does that maybe sound
essentially
like
we become an employee of their business, and our goal
in a sense
is vested
part of an employee.
Vested interest in the success of their business. So
if I were to retell the story, just tell me if I got the beats right. You were doing real estate with mom back in California. You accidentally start what would maybe be considered a break fix or even just a project setup, IT, loosely IT based. You come to Fargo, you learn the ropes of entrepreneurship, working at Pancheros. You don't know it at the time, but you learn, because it's funny how it turns out, like, there's the work of the business, which is, selling burritos or selling IT services, but then there's the work of owning a business, and it turns out those things are kind of similar across
I believe so, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, you get a taste for the entrepreneurship, and then you're not liking the food, so you go into what you thought was something you already knew, which is IT. You get a sour taste in your mouth because these guys are doing strange stuff. They're clearing out whole departments, dropping you in with nothing, making you do it all. But again, maybe a good learning experience because you go, well, gosh, I can go from 0 to 60 all by myself.
Yeah.
So you hang out on your own. You start a radio company. No, you start FM whatever, right?
Yep.
You're doing that. Meanwhile, you have a connection to the smartest guy you've ever known, Dave.
Who I met at that IT company, yeah.
And he wants you to start some kind of an Uber IT fusion. That doesn't work out quite the way you expected it.
Yep.
But at some point, and I think maybe that's where does it become yours? What does that look like? Because he says, I'm going to Microsoft, and he just
So it was at that time we met again, and so one of the benefits that Dave did for me was set up like a lot of things that I was unaware of for an MSP, like which software do we use to monitor and update and patch? He got all of everything set up, and he got the system set up, the pricing, and then he kind of just left. He stayed on as an advisor, like I call him still, and whatever. And the funny irony story of that is that Microsoft laid off their whole team.
Yeah.
And so
for him,
like because
so kind of like what happened to you, that happened to him.
Yeah. But I mean, I think he's it's not like he's like struggling. I'm sure he's doing fine.
But he's going to start his own Microsoft.
Yeah. Or go work for their competitor, whoever, who knows. But at the end of the day, so that's where we're at. And now I have been a little scared, if I'm not being honest. And this is one of the things that I want to give you credit for this. So when the MBA, when I joined the MBA, Sherry Larson, one of my favorite people, I want to name drop her on here. She's been like instrumental in connecting me with people in the community who have changed my life, and you're one of them.
Well, thank you.
And so I was telling Sherry my story, and she's like, you got to talk to this guy, so get a hold of you. And we start talking, and I think the first thing I share with you is like, I've worked so hard for this reputation that I built. Like I built my thing on doing what I say I'm going to do, integrity, being on time, having just the passion for other people's business. And I was like, I don't want to hire somebody who's going to screw that up for me.
Yeah.
And you kind of were like, well, then what's your plan?
Yeah.
Okay, then what are you going to do?
Sure.
Because I was in a situation when I needed to hire somebody. It was getting out of hand.
Yep.
We were growing organically, whether I wanted it to or not. And
so do you want to grow or not?
Yeah.
Like, what do you want to do?
Exactly. So it was just your series of questions and then insights that made me take the jump. Because I made the commitment, okay, we're going to do this. Let's grow it. It was with you on the phone. I remember I was sitting in my backyard on a lawn chair. Chickens are walking around me. We're on this conversation. And I made that decision right then and there in my backyard, talking to you on the phone, that I either had to walk away from this completely or grow it. But I can't just keep doing what I'm doing because it's no longer working. Like, I'm not going to work 18, 20 hours a day. And like, I did this so I could have more time, not less time.
Yeah.
And, So here we are. We've gotten some people in place. We've got, some staff, and I did what, every great business owner did. And I hired up.
Yeah.
I tried to find people.
I've met your new guys. They seem very competent.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're great. And
great guys.
We're really excited. One of the guys that I have had like 20 years experience in the MSP world. Yeah. And in big, successful MSP. So I'm just super thankful because
how did you meet these guys?
My arm. Well, so one guy, it's all a God thing. So,
Oh, wow.
I was at Chipotle eating, and a pastor from
Not Pancheros?
I like them both.
Why would you go? Why would you ever go to Chipotle?
Yeah, right.
Or maybe you're sick of it.
No.
I can't eat Pizza Hut anymore for the same reason.
I eat both of them constantly. I love it. So my first date was at Chipotle with me and Mona. Yeah, and so that's actually why.
Big out in California, though, too, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's
they didn't have a Pancheros there, so we just. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. So you're at Chipotle, and then God shows up.
Yeah, the pastor from church is there,
wow,
and he's like, "Hey, how's it going, Jeff?" And I'm like, pretty good. And he's like, what's going on with you? And like, I didn't say this to anyone. I never talked it out loud. I didn't write it. I didn't post anywhere. And I said, I just talked to you, actually. That's it. I said, well, things are going well. He goes, how's the business? I go, we're actually going to be expanding. I go, you wouldn't happen to know anyone so I wanted somebody that wasn't like overqualified. I wanted somebody who I could like train.
Yeah.
And I was really just looking for the personality, someone that has integrity, someone who's driven, someone who has the ability to learn quickly.
Yep.
And like he said, well, I have a friend whose son just went through that coding boot camp, the 20-month or week or whatever coding boot camp. And I was like, well, we don't do a lot of coding here. But I was starting to think, if this guy can code, then he can learn. If he went to a boot camp, this guy has the ability to learn quickly.
Wow.
So I interviewed him, and he just radiated integrity. He radiated passion. He radiated everything I was looking for. Yeah. I was like, this is amazing. And he didn't have, like, overly knowledge, but he had a huge desire to learn it. And so I'm like, you're in. And then recently got injured. Broke my arm, 17 screws.
You were up on a ladder.
Yeah, no more. I'm retired from ladders. So, and so I get out of the hospital. I'm sitting at the edge of my bed, and I'm talking to my wife, and I'm like, "What are we gonna do?" I do a lot, like from home, business, everything. Yep. I'm like, "What are we gonna do?"
Because you can't do it yourself anymore.
I was like literally in tears right then, and I got a message from the website, the forum on the website, and I'm looking at it, and this guy says, hey, would you be looking for a senior tech? Are you interested in hiring a senior tech? And I just showed the phone to Mona, and she goes, that's a God thing. And so I called him, and it turns out it's a perfect fit. Like he's already like family, like, so he sees it as like his opportunity to take something that has this huge foundation of like the relationships, the integrity, the everything that like is hard to build. And he's like, the rest of it's easy. Like, what I mean? You've done all the hard work. Let's just take this to the next level. Yeah. So he has a lot of the pieces I was missing. This guy's like amazing at documentation, just amazing at using all the tools and communicating. He's very smart. And so, this is started off as a family business. I still have my son and my wife doing this with me too. And
absolutely.
But the people I brought on already feel like family, and that's kind of the culture we create here at Darkhorse. Is like even my clients, I just feel like really I care. I just and it seems I found a bunch of great clients, customers that man, it's like so amazing living in this community and going out and going around and going to different businesses, restaurants, and homes, and just like feeling welcome everywhere I go because I've helped someone in some way or another, or they've, had some interaction with me. It just really is a good feeling.
With every beat along the way, it seems that center to every time that you grown or moved or pivot is the people you know, right? And I don't think everybody does that as well as maybe you are, where you are leveraging every single relationship you have. You're leveraging your mother's relationship to do the work in real estate. Then you're leveraging these people's relationship to accidentally start your IT. Yeah. You're leveraging, your church community to get your new employees, right? Yeah. And it's just, you're leveraging the MBA to meet me, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It really just goes to show, I think your story more than anything shows that if you've got passion and drive, you can do anything, but you also kind of need to know as many people as possible.
Yeah.
It's like a networking success story, I would say.
Yeah, and I credit like networking for the growth of our business. I haven't done a lot of ads. Like we ran ads for a little while. We were getting calls that were not relevant. And so really, it's been the BNI and the MBA and just being out in the community. And really, so BNI has this thing, they call it giver's gain.
Yep.
And so when I heard that, I was like, I'm already doing that. This is going to be easy. Like everything they said. So
I'm already a giver.
Yeah.
Great.
And sometimes like my wife is like, you got to stop being so nice. You got to say no to people. And which is, there is some true
you got to draw a boundary somewhere.
Yeah, there is boundaries, but I definitely pushing those boundaries all the time. I'm that guy that's like, I over volunteer myself sometimes. Like if you're moving and heard you're moving, you might not even ask me like, hey, if you need any help, let me know. Just and then you're like, sure, I'll call you. Like, oh, it's kind of like the hi, how are you? You're supposed to say fine, but yeah. So I end up
take me up.
I end up getting taken up on a lot of things that I volunteer for, which is fine. And but you're right. So community, like So when I just did my core values, we like had a coach and I kind of did them.
Yeah, huge.
And so
that's huge.
like the theme of my core values is built around people and like relationships, family, integrity, growth. But like they all kind of tie back to like family. And I've always been one that believes that like when the tide rises, it rises all the ships.
Yeah, it's
and
beautiful.
like I believe that in the position I'm in now, it's my job and responsibility to kind of foster in the raising of this tide, to helping. And like, I really think that the success of me personally, of Jeff Carney, is going to depend on if I'm able to have those people that just join my team and family, if I'm able to have everyone around me and my clients be successful, then it's just going to happen by natural. If my clients and my staff are successful, then I'll be. And so my focus is more on external, like my environment. Let's make this the most on purpose driven, fun environment. And like what I like about the core values, and this is something, this is kind of it's not like I didn't know it, but got reminded to me last night, is that like we could filter all of the decisions we do through these.
Oh yeah.
And it makes decision making
I say this all
so
the time.
much easier because I get this big life decisions.
How else are you going to prioritize?
Yeah.
If you, like any, and I say this all the time, any idiot can load up their plate like a glutton at a buffet, but you really only got so much space, right? So you got to take stuff off the plate. How do you know what to take off? If you don't know your values, there's no way you can prioritize, right?
Yeah.
It's not dollars and cents. It's about what are you trying to do with this life. And I think it's an amazing story. I'm glad I could be a part of it. I'm glad
I'm glad you were too. Yeah.
I'm really excited for the future. I can't wait to see what you do. But we are at time, my friend. It goes
fast.
Quick.
Yeah.
It goes quick. I wanted to before we get out of here. Everybody, I give them an opportunity to choose a song. I can't figure out why you chose the song. You chose Katy Perry. Could you elucidate that one a little bit? You a big Katy Perry fan, or what was the?
Well, honestly, I do like pop and hip hop and your culture. So I did send you two songs. Like, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna put this out here. It might be embarrassing. You go ahead and judge me if you want, but. Like Miley Cyrus's Jolene from YouTube specifically, that version is my favorite song in the world.
Sure.
And so like we asked me, but it has like no relevance to my life. It has no relevance to my business. And so I started thinking about it. Well, Katy Perry has a song called Darkhorse. She's not
Dark
speaking.
Horse. Now I get it.
She's not singing about our IT company. I don't even know what she's singing about, but I just think it's super cool that we have a song on our business.
Yeah.
Somebody made a song using it. So. And Katy Perry, she does know how to. She's a great performer. So
it's a good song.
Yeah.
So one more time before we get out of here, go ahead, plug yourself. Tell people how can they find you, how can they get a hold of you.
Yeah. So if you just go to darkhorse.it.com, you can use the contact form. We'll get back to you same day. Or we have a blog. If you go to kfgo.darkhorseIT.com. We have a blog that goes with our weekly radio segment, and there's lots of fun stuff in there. So check that out as well.
Awesome. And of course, I am Conrad Fargo. You can find me anywhere. You can type Conrad and Fargo. Guess what happens, Jeff? I'm there. You ever been to Amazon.com? You ever heard of that little website?
Oh, yeah.
And they're up and coming. If you type in Conrad, I don't come up. I think there's a hotel chain called Conrad. You get their stuff. If you type in Fargo, you get the TV show.
Okay.
So don't. But if you go to Amazon and you type in Conrad and Fargo, you put those two words. Do you know what happens?
What happens?
It's me. I'm there. My website or my podcast is right there. So you can subscribe. Of course, iTunes or Apple or whatever it is. All the podcasters, Spotify, anything that gets you podcasts, you can find me. Just type in. Do you know what do you type in?
Yeah, Conrad. Fargo.
Conrad Fargo.
Yeah.
That's it. So again, thank you so much for coming, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
everybody
appreciate it.
for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Goodbye. If the music will play. No, this has a big. There it is.